Hello everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to another crafty date for Not Too Shabby. Here's the coupon code you can use to save 10% off your total purchase. I'm going to be making 3 cards today using the Not Too Shabby apple picking stamp set. This stamp set came out last year, but I didn't have a chance to use it during the fall season, so I thought I would get it out and give it some love, and wanted to color up all of the images with you today, and so therefore decided to create 3 separate cards. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the skin colors first. I'm going to do them a little bit different for each of our little girls here and the little boy who are picking apples. So for the first girl, I used the darker of the markers shown here to the left-hand side. I used E13, E11, and E00. For the boy in the middle, I used E11, E00, and E000. And then for the girl on the right-hand side, I used the same color combination as the boy, but I used more of the E11, this time bringing it down further, and then blending that out with the E00 and then the E000. Now for the first girl, I felt like the E13 got pushed back quite a bit, so I did go back a second time and darken up her skin. I'm going to give them all some rosy cheeks with some R20, and then blend that out with the E000 for the 2 to the right hand side, and just left the blush the way it was for the little girl that I'm coloring the hair on now. So I'm going to do her hair in a brown color combination. I wanted to have a fall feel to these cards, so I'm using E57, E35, E34, and E31 for her hair, going in with the lightest and then working my way out from lightest to darker. As always, I leave the caps out so you can see them, and I order them from darkest to lightest, the darkest being on the top, working my way through. So that can help you follow along with the coloring. So just going back now over with the E57, the darkest, then going with the darkest midtone, the E35, and coming back in with the E34. Doing some flicking motion there, trying to make it look like she has some strands of hair. For the little boy, I wanted to do a dirty blonde color combination. So for the lightest, or for the base color, it's not really the lightest, but it gives me the yellow undertone, is the Y23. My darkest for him is the E23. The E33 is the midtone, and E35 is the lightest. Now I went a little more heavy-handed with the brown colors here than I had originally wanted. So in the end, he's looking a little bit more like he has brown hair than he has dirty blonde hair. On him, I also felt like I left too much of a part in the center, so I tried to fix that up by going back over it. I found his hair a little bit hard to color just because he has those strands sticking up. He's got the cute messy hair look, and so therefore it was a bit tricky, but I think I did okay. So I'm going to try my hand now again, doing the dirty blonde, being a little bit lighter here. So again, using the Y23 is my base color, and then the E33 is my darkest, and the E53 as my midtone. I'm just going to do a 3-color blend for her hair. I wanted to have them all wearing the same color of pants, and in this case I'm coloring them up as jeans. So I'm using my favorite combination for jeans, which is B97, B95, B93, and B91. And so I went in with my lightest color just to map out where I wanted the darkest shadows to be. And now I'm going in with the B97, mapping out those, well, putting down that darkest color. And then I'll blend that out with the darkest midtone, which is the B95. Now for some reason, I don't know what I was thinking, but I left that little front panel of his jeans not colored at this point. I do realize that quite a bit later in the video, and I will go ahead and come back and color that in the same jean color. Like I said, I'm not really sure what I was thinking, but sometimes you just get lost in the moment of coloring and you don't really realize when you've missed some areas. So there's his jeans colored up. I went ahead and colored the two girls the same as well. I wanted some consistency between the cards, so I thought that giving them jeans was perfect for fall scene cards. For the other colors of the clothing, I wanted to keep them again in that fall color palette. So I decided to use my E70 markers for the little hoodie on this girl to the left. My darkest color is the E79, my darkest midtone the E77, my lightest midtone the E74, and then my highlight color is the E71. I like the way this color combination came out for this little sweater. I think she looks really cute with her jeans on and her fall hoodie. I'm just going in and darkening up some of those areas where I didn't quite get them right the first time around, and then going down, blending through those colors to make sure I get a smooth blend. I'm also going to do the little pigtail elastics in her hair in the brown as well, just to keep things quite consistent. And here I thought, again, the dark colors kind of got pushed back quite a bit, so I am going in again and just blending that out. Decided to use the same color palette for the shoes on the girl to the right hand side. I love these little shoes, they're so adorable. Here's where I realize I've missed the front panel of the overalls on our little guy here, so I'm just going to quickly color that in. Now for her rubber boots, I didn't want to bring in any bright colors, so I'm not doing a traditional yellow rain boot here. I decided to go for more of an olive green. So for that, I'm using YG99, YG97, YG95, and YG93. And this just gives a really cute olive color, perfect for a fall scene card. I feel like these could definitely be some hunter boots in an olive green color. Once I get the boots colored up, I am going to use these same colors for the leaves on the apples and on the tree branch, just again for some consistency. I'm also going to color the little sweater vest on this girl in the same color combination. I actually really loved how this color combination looked for a fall card, so I decided to keep going with it, and I knew that the two girls would be on different cards, so I thought it was fine to use the same colors. I'm going to add some golden highlights or areas to her little sweater here. I'm using Y28, YR24, and Y26. And I'm going to do that for the cuffs on her sleeve and the little band on her sweater. I'm using the Y28, which is a gold color, for the snaps on his overall. And now I'm going to do some white here. Now, normally for inanimate objects, things that are not alive, you would typically use the C color family of Copic markers. But because this was a fall card, I really wanted to bring in those warm grays instead. So I'm using the W3, the W1, and the W00. I am bringing in my colorless blender as well, just to pull back some of that color to make it look white. And I think that looks really pretty, as I said, for the fall feel that I was going for with these three cards. For the apples, I'm just going to show you the one basket of apples here. I'm using R39, R29, and R24. They were quite small, so I didn't want to do more than a 3-color blend. I'm just adding the darkest color where the apples are touching or overlapping each other, and then bringing in the mid-tone and then blending that out with the lightest. So you can see here I have most of the apples colored up. And now I'm going to work on the basket. I will color the other apples off screen and use them in the cards. So for the baskets, I had the color combination there that went pretty quickly. I kind of missed which colors they were. but a light tan or beige color. Now I'm just bringing in my white gel pen and I'm adding a lot of detail to these images just to really make them pop. So I added some fun little details to the bottom of her sweater. I wanted to add lots of highlights to the apples to make them look shiny, as well as the rubber boots. And then I added some cross hatching, or I don't know what the term is for that, to the basket to make it look like they were weaved baskets. And then just adding some highlights to their hair as well. And then we can move on to creating card number 1. So I wanted to use the pie that came in the stamp set. It was so sweet, and so I thought I would do a really simple card here for this first card. I'm going ahead and I'm blending some Dye Distress Oxide Ink to the back of the card. I went ahead and I cut out a panel, and I'm using a stitched oval die just to cut out what will be a little window here for this first card. Went ahead and popped that panel up on some foam adhesive as well as the little pie here. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tuck a bunch of these apples behind the pie. Now I cut quite a bit of this out because I played around with the placement of the apples forever. And I didn't think you wanted to sit there and watch me fiddle with these. You'll see me fiddle with them enough as I lay them down with the glue. Just trying to have it so that it was really appealing to the eye. I love that little apple that looks like it's cut in half and you can see the inside of it. I knew that I wanted to have that in the front to the right hand side of the card. I also wanted to make sure that I had an odd number of apples. So I'm using 6 of the red ones, and then the 7th one will be the one that is cut open. I am going to add some foam adhesive to the one in the front here, and all of the other ones I just had adhered down to the card itself with some liquid adhesive. I pulled out my Lawn Fawn stamp. This one's called Cutie Pie, and I used the sentiment that says "Hi Cutie Pie" for this one. I thought it was fitting. I am going to go ahead and stamp sentiment on the inside. This sentiment says "I've missed you," and it is from MFT Greetings and Salutations. And I went ahead and put the pie slice on the inside of the card. To finish off, I wanted to have the apples really nice and shiny, so I'm using my Nouveau Crystal Glaze here. It is similar to Glossy Accents. And there's the first card complete. Here's a quick peek of the second card I'm going to create. I wanted to do a little bit more of a scene card for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and make a frame for this card using a stitched rectangle die and a stitched oval die. Just using some regular 110 pound cardstock for that. Now I've gone ahead and I've created my own hill mask here using the hillside borders from Lawn Fawn. I'm also going to be doing some cloud stenciling here with the MFT Mini Cloud Edges stencil. You've seen me do this before, so I'm just kind of skipping through. I wanted to do a bit more of a fall sky, so I'm using faded jeans and tumbled glass for that. I did get some ink on the bottom of my panel there, so I just sprayed some water and dabbed that up with a clean paper towel. Here's where I'm going to use my self-made stencil. For the grass, again, to give it that kind of cooler fall look, I'm using peeled paint and crushed olive. Just using my makeup brushes here to put this on. I am using Bristol Smooth cardstock for this, just so that I get a nice smooth blend. I'm going to add some water on that with my Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer and dab that up with a clean paper towel. So that's the background for card number 2. I'm going to adhere my front panel onto this background. So I'm going to have a nice white border with an oval cut out. And then I'm just going to adhere our 2 little characters here right down using some liquid adhesive. I'm absolutely loving my art glitter glue. I think it will be hard to replace this as a favorite, and I would definitely recommend it. All the products that I'm using today are listed below in the description box. So now that I have my two little characters on here, I'm going to go ahead and put this on some cardstock for my card base. This is just some olivey green cardstock from my stash. I think it was from a Scrapping for Less kit. I really thought I was going to use that one little apple somewhere, but decided that I would put it on the inside of the card when I decide what I want the inside sentiment to read. So I just used the I Pick You sentiment from the Picking Apples stamp set, and we're already moving on to card number 3. So for card number 3, I wanted to do another scene card. I went ahead and used that same hillside border. It's actually not the hillside border. It's from the palm tree borders that recently came out with Lawn Fawn in the summer. And so it gives a nice rounded border. The hillside borders that I mentioned before have more different shapes to them. So I like this because it looks like a rounded hill. So for this, I wanted to use a bunch of the apple branches. I wanted it to look like she was standing in an orchard. You may have noticed there that I've already cut one of the branches, and that's because I wanted the bottom branch to be longer than the two at the top. So that's a good way to just make it look like you're using different stamps. Even though it's the same one, it will appear a bit different because it will be longer. I wanted to make sure that the branches were hanging off the edge of my card so I could trim that up and it would look more seamless, like the tree is just offset from the scene that we're creating. So I'm going to go ahead and put her down. I'm not pressing her down yet. I want to make sure I get this branch into place first before I do that. And I am just going to play around a little bit with this piece of the branch. I wasn't quite sure how I wanted it to sit, but I like that placement, and then I'm going to go ahead and press her down. Just going to trim off the edge of the branches, and then you can see how nice and seamless that looks once I do that. I wanted to add a few of the apples to the bottom of the ground just for some interest's sake. Again, loving that little apple that looks like it's been cut so you can see the inside of it. And then adding 2 of the nice bright red apples here just to balance out the bottom of the card. Once I do that, I'm going to use the I Pick You sentiment again, using my Versafine Clair Nocturne ink for the sentiments today. Just going to place that up in this area where there's lots of space, just to balance that out with the other areas of the card. Going to go ahead and I'm going to add that to my card base. All of the cards were A2 size at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to slow this down and I'll show you all 3 cards. If you have a favorite, let me know. I hope you've enjoyed seeing 3 cards with 1 stamp set. Thank you so much for stopping by and sharing your time with me. Don't forget to use coupon code JEN10, that's Jen with 2 N's, to save 10% off your order at the Not2Shabby Shop. Here's some other videos that you may want to check out. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to have you as part of our little community here. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.